I stared at the elegant venue entrance, my hand clutching the designer suit I'd bought specifically for this day. The security guard looked at his tablet again, his expression uncomfortable. "I'm sorry, sir, but your name isn't on the approved list. I can't let you in." "There must be a mistake," I said, keeping my voice steady. "I'm the bride's brother, Emily Parker. It's her wedding." He shook his head. "Sir, I have strict instructions. Your name, James Parker, is specifically marked as not approved." He turned the tablet toward me, and there it was, my name with a red X next to it. I couldn't help but laugh, a hollow, bitter sound that made the guard shift uncomfortably. Of course my name would be marked. Of course Emily would do this. After all, I was just the walking ATM, right? Good enough to pay for her dream wedding, but not good enough to attend. My phone buzzed. A text from Emily. "Don't make a scene. You know why you can't be here. Just let me have my perfect day." Perfect day, right? The perfect day I'd paid $20,000 for. The venue alone had cost more than most people's entire weddings. And that wasn't even counting the catering, the flowers, the band, all carefully billed to my accounts because family helps family. I walked back to my car, sat behind the wheel, and pulled up my banking app. The final venue payment was scheduled for today. Emily had insisted on paying at the last minute, claiming it was better for the payment schedule. Now I understood why. My fingers hovered over the cancel button as memories flooded back. Emily and I grew up close, or at least I thought we were. Being 5 years older, I'd always looked out for her. When our parents died in that car crash 10 years ago, I was 22, fresh out of college, and she was 17. I didn't hesitate. I became her guardian, put my career on hold, made sure she finished high school and got into a good college. I remember the night she got her acceptance letter to NYU. She jumped into my arms, crying with joy. "You're the best brother ever," she'd said. "I don't know what I'd do without you." What she meant was she didn't know what she'd do without my money. I'd worked 2 jobs to put her through college, lived in a tiny studio apartment so she could have a nice dorm room, ate ramen while making sure she had meal plans and spending money. It's an investment in her future, I told myself. She's all the family I have left. But something changed during those college years. Maybe it was the new friends she made, rich kids who looked down on her boring older brother. Maybe it was her new boyfriend, now fiancé, Thomas, heir to some real estate empire. Suddenly, I wasn't the supportive brother anymore. I was the embarrassing relation, the one who worked in it instead of finance, who lived in a modest apartment instead of a Manhattan penthouse. The first time I noticed the change was at her college graduation. I'd taken time off work, bought a new suit, brought flowers. She barely acknowledged me. When her friends asked who I was, she said, "Oh, that's James. He helps with some of my expenses." Some of her expenses, right? Like the entire tuition, the apartment she moved into after graduation, the car she crashed 3 months later that I replaced without a word, the startup costs for her failed fashion blog, the down payment on her first condo. But today took it to a new level. My phone buzzed again. A text from Thomas this time. "Emily's pretty stressed. Would appreciate if you didn't cause problems. You know how she gets." Oh, I knew how she got. I knew exactly how she got when things didn't go her way. Like the time I couldn't immediately wire her money for a spontaneous trip to Paris with her friends. She'd shown up at my office, crying so hysterically that security had to escort her out. My boss had taken me aside afterward. "Family issues should stay at home," he'd said. I'd nearly lost my job. Or the time I suggested she try finding work instead of starting another doomed business venture. She told all our relatives I was trying to sabotage her dreams because I was jealous of her potential. They called me for weeks, lecturing me about supporting my sister. I opened my banking app again. The venue payment was still pending, $20,000 for the perfect day I wasn't good enough to attend. Next to it were all the other payments, $5,000 for flowers, $8,000 for the band, $12,000 for catering. Grand total, $45,000. More than I'd spent on my car. My phone buzzed. A notification from Instagram. Emily had just posted a story, a selfie in her wedding dress. Caption reading, "Ready for the most perfect day with the most perfect people." Perfect people, not including her brother, apparently. I thought about all the times I defended her to my friends. "She's just finding herself," I'd say. "She'll grow out of it." Even last month, when my best friend Jack asked why I was paying for such an expensive wedding, I made excuses. She's my little sister. I want her to have her dream day. Another text from Emily. The venue manager wants to confirm the payment. Don't you dare mess this up for me. I stared at the message for a long moment. Don't mess this up for her. Like she'd messed up my chances at a promotion by showing up at my office. Like she'd messed up my relationships by demanding my time and money whenever I tried to date someone. Like she'd messed up my reputation with our extended family through her constant lies and manipulations. My finger hovered over the cancel button again. I thought about our parents, what they would say if they could see us now. Mom always said family was everything. Dad taught us to look out for each other, but they also taught us about respect, about gratitude, about treating people right. Another Instagram notification. Emily's maid of honor posting pictures of the bridal party. So blessed to be part of this amazing day. Love you, M. Hashtag perfect bride. Hashtag dream wedding. Hashtag best day ever. I clicked on the location tag. More photos popped up. Guests arriving in expensive cars, taking selfies in the venue's gorgeous garden. Everyone looked so happy, so perfectly curated for Emily's perfect day. Then I saw it, a photo of Emily with our Aunt Margaret. The caption read, "So wonderful to have real family here to support me on my special day." Real family. My phone rang. The venue manager. "Mr. Parker, we're trying to process the final payment, but the system seems to be having issues. Could you please confirm the transfer?" I took a deep breath. "Actually," I said, my voice surprisingly calm, "there's been a change of plans. I'm sorry. The payment won't be going through. In fact, I'd like to cancel all associated payments for this event." Silence on the other end. "Then, sir, this is highly irregular. The wedding is starting in less than an hour. I understand. But as the person whose name is on all the payments, I have the right to cancel them, correct?" "Well, yes, but—" "Then please cancel everything. The venue, the catering, the flowers, all of it." "Sir, this will cost significant—" "I understand, and I accept full responsibility. Please proceed with the cancellation." I could hear chaos erupting in the background as I ended the call. Within seconds, my phone exploded with notifications. Text messages from Emily, Thomas, the wedding planner, various family members. I turned off my phone. Starting my car, I took one last look at the venue. Through the large windows, I could see people beginning to gather for the ceremony. Soon they would all learn that the perfect day wasn't so perfect after all. As I pulled away, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. No more expectations. No more demands. No more being the ATM disguised as a brother. Emily made her choice when she decided I wasn't good enough to attend her wedding. Now she would learn what it meant to make choices. I drove to my apartment, changed out of the expensive suit I'd never get to wear, and poured myself a drink. Then I turned my phone back on and watched as the messages poured in. "Emily, what did you do?" "Thomas, you're going to regret this." "Aunt Margaret, how could you ruin your sister's special day?" "Wedding planner, this is highly unprofessional." I opened my banking app one last time. All the payments were now marked as canceled. $45,000 back in my account. Enough for a down payment on a house. Or maybe a long vacation somewhere far away from all of this. A new message popped up from Emily. "I'll never forgive you for this. You're dead to me." I laughed. Funny, I typed back, "I thought I already was. After all, I wasn't good enough to be on the guest list." Then I blocked her number, along with everyone else's. Tomorrow, I'd start looking for apartments in a different city. Maybe somewhere on the West Coast, where the weather was nice and family drama couldn't find me. But for now, I sat back, sipped my drink, and finally felt the weight of years of manipulation lift from my shoulders. Sometimes the perfect day isn't about fancy venues and expensive flowers. Sometimes it's about finally standing up for yourself, even if it means standing alone. The last thing I did before going to bed was cancel the automatic payments I'd set up for Emily's condo. Let her perfect new husband handle that now. After all, I wasn't family anymore. I was just the guy who taught her that actions have consequences. And for the first time in years, I slept without worrying about whose emergency would drain my bank account next. The aftermath hit faster and harder than I expected. By morning, my inbox was flooded with messages from every possible platform. Family members I hadn't heard from in years suddenly had plenty to say. The most dramatic was a video Emily had posted on social media. Mascara running down her face, designer wedding dress wrinkled, as she sobbed about how her mentally unstable brother had destroyed the most important day of her life. The comments were a mix of sympathy for her and outrage at me. I watched the video with a strange sense of detachment. This was classic Emily, always the victim, never the villain. But something was different this time. I wasn't rushing to fix it. My phone rang. Jack, my best friend. Dude, he said when I answered. I just saw Emily's video. Tell me you really did it. Canceled every payment. He whistled. Man, that's actually awesome. About time you stood up to her. Yeah, well, apparently I'm now the villain in her story. Let me guess. She didn't mention that she banned you from attending. Of course not. That wouldn't fit the narrative. A new email popped up from Thomas's father, Richard Montgomery. The subject line read, Legal Notice. We are prepared to take legal action for the damages caused by your malicious interference with the wedding. Your sister is devastated, and our family name has been embarrassed. If you wish to avoid a lawsuit, contact our family lawyer immediately. I forwarded it to Jack, who worked as a corporate lawyer. They don't have a case, he said after reading it. You pay for everything. It was your money, your contracts. You had every right to cancel. Try telling them that. Want me to? I considered it. Actually, yes. Send them a formal response. Include the security guard's documentation of my name being blacklisted and Emily's text telling me not to come. On it. They'll back off once they realize their precious daughter isn't the innocent party. Another notification. A message from Aunt Margaret on Facebook. Your parents would be ashamed of you. How could you do this to your own sister? That one stung, but I typed back. You're right, they would be ashamed. Ashamed that their daughter banned their son from her wedding after using his money to pay for everything. Did Emily tell you that part? I attached screenshots of Emily's texts and the venue's blacklist. Then I logged out of Facebook. My phone buzzed again. A different number, but I recognized the area code. The condo building where Emily lived. Mr. Parker? This is Sandra from management. We're trying to process Miss Parker's monthly fees, but the payment was declined. Yes, that's correct. I'm no longer handling those payments. Oh, I see. Should I contact Miss Parker directly? That would be best. I'm sure her perfect new husband can handle it. After hanging up, I opened my laptop and started searching for apartments in Seattle. Rain and coffee seemed like a good change from family drama and betrayal. A new email arrived from Emily's maid of honor, Jessica. James, I know you probably won't read this, but Emily told us you weren't coming because you were jealous of her happiness. I just found out that's not true. Some of us are starting to see the real story. I'm sorry. I didn't respond, but I saved the email. At least someone was seeing through the act. My doorbell rang. For a moment, I tensed, expecting Emily or Thomas. Instead, I found Jack holding a 6-pack of beer. Thought you might need this, he said, walking in. Also, I sent that legal response to Montgomery's lawyers. Included everything, the payment records, the blacklist, the texts. Added a nice little note about a potential countersuit for defamation based on Emily's social media posts. How long until they respond? Got a reply 10 minutes ago. They're reassessing the situation. He handed me a beer. In other words, they realized Emily's not the innocent victim she's pretending to be. I took a long drink. You know what's funny? For years, I told myself I was helping her because that's what family does. But family doesn't do what she did. No, they don't. Jack pulled out his phone. By the way, have you seen the latest? Some of her wedding guests are posting about what really happened. Apparently, the venue manager announced the payment issue right as she was walking down the aisle. People are putting it together with her social media meltdown, and well, he showed me the comments. Can't believe she banned her own brother after he paid for everything. Who does that to family? No wonder he canceled. I would too. The narrative was shifting. Emily's perfect victim story was unraveling. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Thomas. We need to talk. Emily's a mess. Just pay for the venue and we can forget this happened. I showed it to Jack, who laughed. Wow, they really don't get it, do they? Nope. I typed back. Sorry, but perfect people don't need money from the brother who wasn't good enough to attend. Good luck with the bills. Then I pulled up my banking app and looked at my account, really looked at it for the first time in years. Without Emily's constant demands, I had enough saved for a fresh start. "Hey," I said to Jack, "want to help me look at apartments in Seattle?" He grinned, running away. "No," I replied, feeling truly confident for the first time in years. Moving forward. As we scrolled through listings, my phone kept buzzing with messages I wouldn't read and calls I wouldn't answer. Emily's perfect day had turned into a perfect lesson about consequences. And I was finally free to plan my own perfect future, one without toxic family obligations and one-sided sacrifices. 3 weeks after the wedding fiasco, I was packing boxes in my apartment when my doorman called. "Mr. Parker, your sister is here. She's quite insistent about coming up." I could hear Emily's voice in the background, that familiar hysterical tone she used when things weren't going her way. "Tell him he has to talk to me. He can't just disappear." "Don't let her up, Carlos," I said. "In fact, she's not on my approved visitor list anymore." I heard Emily's shriek of outrage before the call ended. Minutes later, my phone started ringing. Emily, Thomas, unknown numbers. Probably her friends or Thomas's family. I ignored them all and kept packing. My new job in Seattle was starting in 2 weeks. A tech company had practically jumped at my resume, offering a salary that made me realize just how much I'd been undervaluing myself while supporting Emily. My phone buzzed with a text from Carlos. "She's gone, but she left an envelope." I went downstairs to collect it. The envelope was thick, expensive cream-colored paper with my name written in Emily's perfect handwriting. Inside was a letter and photos. I spread them out on my kitchen counter. Photos of us growing up, Emily and me at the beach, at Christmas, at her high school graduation. Happy memories that now felt like scenes from someone else's life. The letter was pages long, covered in tear stains and Emily's dramatic cursive. "James, you've ruined everything. Thomas's parents are furious. We had to have a small ceremony at City Hall instead of my dream wedding. Do you know how humiliating that was? Everyone's talking about it. I had to disable my social media because people are being so cruel. The condo management says we owe 3 months of fees. Thomas says I need to learn financial responsibility and won't help. His parents are suggesting we get a prenup now. This is all your fault. I know I made a mistake not inviting you, but you have to understand. Thomas's family is all about appearances, and you just don't fit in with that world. I was trying to protect both of us. Please, James, you're my brother. We're all we have left. Mom and Dad would want us to stick together. I need you to fix this. Love, Emily." I read it twice, letting each manipulative word sink in. The old me would have crumbled, would have written a check immediately, would have apologized for not understanding. But that version of me died the day I wasn't good enough to attend her wedding. I took out my phone and recorded a video. "Emily, I got your letter. Let me be clear, I'm not fixing anything. You didn't make a mistake by not inviting me. You made a choice. You chose to use me for my money while deciding I wasn't good enough to be seen at your wedding. You chose to lie to everyone about why I wasn't there. You chose to play victim when your choices had consequences. You're right about one thing. Mom and Dad would want us to stick together. But they'd be horrified to see how you've treated the brother who raised you, who put you through college, who funded your every whim." The photos were a nice touch, very manipulative. Just like your tears, your excuses, your sudden remembrance that we're all we have left. But here's the truth. We're not all we have left. You have your perfect husband, your perfect in-laws, your perfect life. I have my self-respect. Don't contact me again. Don't send flying monkeys to plead your case. Don't try to guilt me with memories or family obligations. You lost that right when you decided I wasn't family. I sent the video to Emily, then to our entire extended family group chat. Let everyone see both sides of the story for once. Within minutes, my phone exploded with responses. "Aunt Margaret, Emily, is this true? Did you really ban James from the wedding?" "Cousin Sarah, OMG, I can't believe you used him for the money and then excluded him. That's horrible." "Uncle Pete, young lady, you've got some explaining to do." Emily's response was predictable. "He's lying. He's trying to turn everyone against me. This isn't fair." I muted the chat and went back to packing. An hour later, Jack arrived with more boxes. "Your video is going viral in the family chat," he said, grinning. "Emily's losing it. She tried claiming you're mentally unstable. But then Sarah posted screenshots of Emily bragging about how she was going to have this amazing wedding courtesy of my sucker brother from months ago. I raised an eyebrow. She said that. Oh yeah. Apparently she's been quite open about using you when she thought no one would tell you. But now, the family's turning on her hard. Even Thomas's mother commented something about disturbing behavior and reconsidering relationships. I sealed another box. Not my problem anymore. No, Jack agreed. It's not. By the way, your Seattle apartment is confirmed. Ocean view, just like you wanted. I smiled, remembering all the times Emily had mocked my boring it job while living off its proceeds. Now that same boring job was funding my fresh start. My phone buzzed. A text from Thomas. What have you done? Emily's hysterical. Her family's turning against her. Please just tell everyone you overreacted. I shoved it to Jack, who snorted. Want me to respond? Nah, I said, taping up another box. Let them figure out their perfect life without my boring money. As we packed, I could hear my phone constantly buzzing with messages and calls. Emily was probably having a meltdown, trying to control the narrative like she always did. But for the first time, she was learning that actions have consequences and money can't fix everything. Looking around at the half-packed apartment, I felt lighter than I had in years. Seattle was waiting, with its coffee shops and rain and complete lack of toxic family drama. Ready for part 4? I asked Jack, lifting another box. The final escape? Absolutely. Sometimes the best family is the one you choose, not the one you're born into. And sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's simply walking away and letting people face the consequences of their own actions. 1 year later, I stood in my Seattle apartment, watching the rain dance across the ocean view. My phone buzzed with a notification, an email from Jack with a subject line. Thought you'd want to see this. Attached was a local newspaper article from back home. Montgomery real estate empire faces bankruptcy, inside the fall of a dynasty. There were Emily and Thomas in the photo, looking significantly less perfect than they used to. I skimmed the article. Apparently, Thomas's family business had collapsed under suspicious financial practices. Their assets were frozen, properties seized. The perfect life Emily had chosen over family had crumbled. Another email popped up from Aunt Margaret. Emily's back in town, staying with her in-laws. They're selling the condo. She's been asking about you. I didn't respond. Instead, I walked to my home office, where my electronics repair business was thriving. Turns out my weird hobby had turned into a successful side venture. The irony wasn't lost on me. My phone rang. Jack. Hey, did you see the article? Yeah. Karma's interesting, isn't it? Very, but that's not why I called. Emily showed up at my office today. I sat down. What did she want? What do you think? Money. She's desperate. The Montgomerys are broke. The condo's being repossessed, and apparently she never actually got a job because she was too busy being perfect. What did you tell her? That her brother lives in Seattle now, runs a successful business, and is happier than I've ever seen him, and that she should live with her choices, just like you've had to live with yours. I smiled. How'd she take that? Not well, started crying about family obligations and second chances. I reminded her about wedding guest lists and blacklisted brothers. She left pretty quickly after that. After hanging up, I walked to my balcony. The Seattle skyline glittered in the rain, beautiful and peaceful. My phone buzzed again. Unknown number, but I recognized Emily's old pattern of triple texts. James, please. I know I messed up. I need my brother. I opened my photos, found the screenshot from a year ago, the security guard's tablet showing my name blacklisted from her wedding. I sent it to her with one message. You decided I wasn't family when you needed a perfect wedding. Don't decide I'm family now that you need a perfect savior. Then I blocked the number. Later that evening, as I worked on repairing a vintage radio, similar to the ones I used to fix when Emily would sit and watch, my doorbell rang. It was a delivery, a small package from Jack. Inside was a framed photo of me at my new office opening, smiling, successful, free. A note was attached. Thought you should have proof of your own perfect day, one that you earned on your own terms. Jack. I hung it on my wall, right where I could see it from my workbench. My phone showed several missed calls from unknown numbers, Emily trying different phones, no doubt. But I didn't need to answer. I didn't need to explain or justify or rescue anyone.